This is Might and Magic Clash of Heroes. For the Nintendo DS, this is a turn-based strategy game that feels a lot like a puzzle game set in a fantasy universe, not so subtly inspired by Lord of the Rings. If you enjoy turn-based strategy games, watch this one closely because it's surprisingly addictive and very well made. It doesn't look that exciting, even if my objective during this battle is to defend the world's largest green cupcake. It's supposed to be a seed, but I think it's a green cupcake. A cupcake worth fighting for. You can play with either the stylus or the buttons. And I'm not sure what the best way to present this review is because it's actually a tough game to explain quickly. I think the best way to demonstrate this may be to show you an uninterrupted battle, for those truly interested in the gameplay. That way you'll be able to see what's actually happening. I'll show you some footage of this near the end, but you're playing through a storyline and there's top-down scenes where your characters are exploring an environment. But it's not like one of those adventure RPGs where you walk around and have random boss encounters. It's more like a board game where you're going from point to point and then you engage in battles to move the story along. You can also take side quests. Each battle has an objective. Sometimes you're just wiping out the enemy hero, which means that you have to get shots through to the other side of the screen. So while you don't see the hero, the enemy standing there, the entire top of the top screen is the enemy. And the entire bottom of the bottom screen is my hero, and you can see my health points on the bottom. In this particular battle, I have to wipe out the enemy hero. It doesn't matter how many of his forces I destroy, I have to eventually destroy the entire enemy whose hit points are on the top without losing the giant green cupcake. Which is why I've spent a great deal of time so far erecting walls in front of the cupcake. Are you confused yet? Well, maybe, but I'll tell you, it makes a lot more sense when you start playing it, and the game does have a very well-made tutorial. And I picked up numerous clever tricks while playing through the game. One of the simplest that's just not clear at the beginning is that you build a wall in the back and it just moves to the front. And while you have a certain number of turns per round, which show up on the bottom right, there's things that you can do to prolong that. So, let me try to explain a few things that are going on here and you can watch how this unfolds, because I'm going to kick this guy's ass into next week. Using my last remaining turn, I just called up reinforcements, and now it's the enemy's turn. Basically, what you're doing here is combining units to form attacks. Most of the time you can combine 3 units of the same style and color into an attack. There's also special units that are the larger ones where you can pile up 2 or 4 units behind them and create much stronger attacks. Combining 3 units horizontally forms a wall. Each time you combine these pieces to form an attack, a number will appear telling you how many turns it will take until that attack actually fires. The archers move quickly, they only take 1 turn, but they have a weaker attack. The bears, you'll see, take 2 turns to attack, and some of the larger pieces take more than that. Now you'll note the enemy right now is setting up to make a huge fusion attack using that giant bird-like thing. That's dangerous. That could wipe out my green cupcake. It's like when seagulls attack you to grab your sandwich. You don't want to let that bird get that cupcake. That thing's going to take a few turns to fire off, so I can either just set up a huge defense or try to preemptively destroy it. Or just win the round. So let's see what I do here. And watch the rest of this battle, then I'll show you a bit of additional footage at the end. I'm not meeting my quota for smart-ass comments during this review. I tend to like strategy games, so they're tough to just poke fun at when they're good. I will say this, the music is terrible. I would have really rather that they just spent the additional money and licensed Run DMC or something. Okay, and did you notice that my archers just got a shot through one of the enemy pieces and hit the enemy bad guy at the top of the screen? That should call for my Adidas to start playing. That was fresh, and it perfectly complemented the part where I just launched a giant deer into the enemy. I'm using the elf character here, whose units are inspired by woodland, nature-like things. Like the walls that grow stronger each turn. Like trees. That just did some serious damage, and it may look like I'm going to have an easy victory here, but the enemy bird is really charged up and ready to do some damage, and if it destroys my cupcake, as I told you, I lose. That rule applies to life in general. If you lose your cupcake, you basically suck. Don't lose your cupcake. To celebrate, we feast on the giant cupcake. The storyline is told through very simple, straightforward, fairly still-motion cutscenes with some text. It's mildly interesting, but the real strength of this game is in the turn-based strategy. You play as numerous characters throughout Might and Magic: Clash of Heroes, and progressing through the game, there's a variety of enemies that start to surprise you with the kind of attacks they pull off. Like when I started getting frozen in one battle, I had to change my tactics in that one. You also earn money and collect medallions or something that give you more power. It's a pretty slick strategy game. I'm impressed. I thought it would be corny with the whole Might and Magic thing, but it really isn't. It's actually very good. Might and Magic: Clash of Heroes for the Nintendo DS. Surprisingly good turn-based strategy.